right into it. Question number 1. A financial institution uses hybrid cloud environment to host critical applications. A recent audit revealed default accounts are enabled on cloud-based systems. TLS 1.0 is in use for application connections. Several systems lack the latest security patches. What should the security team prioritize first to harden this environment? I know we got 3 little problems. Which one is the most relevant? Which one should we do first? Which one should we do first? I feel like there's a lot going on here. Default accounts are enabled on cloud-based systems. Ugh, that's a problem. TLS 1.0, that's a problem. And several systems lack the latest security patches. Yet another problem. Oh my gosh. If I was the security manager for this one, I'd be like, oh, what are you people doing to me? Like, shut it down. We are fixing all of this. Like, so many problems. So many problems. But which one's the priority coming from? Which one's the priority? Let's get into it, shall we? Disable all default accounts and implement MFA, multi-factor authentication. Great answer. Great answer. I'm going to do A as a great answer. It directly relates back to the default accounts thing. B, upgrade TLS connections to version 1.3. Another great answer, because we are using 1.0. 1.3 is by far the most up-to-date version as of the making of this video. C, apply all missing security patches to reduce vulnerabilities, and we see that one takes into point the bullet point number 3. And then D, perform comprehensive configuration baseline review. The one thing that is not on our list. Now, normally I break it down between 2 answers. In this case, because of this question, we're going to actually keep all 3. A, B, and C are our top answers on the board. If you said D, I don't think many people did. But if you did, take another guess at it. Take another guess. All right, we're going to knock them out one at a time. One at a time. Which one should we get rid of next? What do you think? Which one is least effective? Which one do we think doesn't need to be prioritized above it? I think we can get rid of B. Upgrade all TLS connections from 1.0 to 1.3. Yes, it's bad. Yes, it's bad. Is it worse is it worse than default credentials or security patches? I would say no. I would say no. Is it bad? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We still want to get it fixed. I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm just saying that default accounts and security patches are probably more of a priority than upgrading TLS. Okay, so that comes between A and C. A and C. All right. If you answered B at this point, go ahead and take another guess. Take another guess. All right. Let's answer this one. If you said A, disable all default accounts and implement multi-factor authentication, I would love to tell you you're right, but you're not. And you may be screaming at your screen right now, and you're probably going, what in the world? What are you talking about? Why is security patches more important? Because the accounts have already been there. That's why. And they're enabled on cloud-based systems, only cloud-based systems. And so that's why. And so applying those missing security patches to reduce vulnerabilities, that's going to be our number 1 right there. Number 1 is going to be to supply those security patches. That's going to be first. Then disabling accounts. Then upgrading to TLS version 1.3 in that order. That order. Okay? And the reason is because those security patches, to reduce those vulnerabilities, they could have some huge CVSS problems with it, right? Huge problems. And so the best one is going to be C. I know, that is a difficult one. It really is. All right, moving on. Moving on. Question number 2. Based on the log, what increases the complexity of the attack? I know, I made these difficult, didn't I? On purpose. I was told by one of my students that I'm making it too easy. And they're like, can you ramp up the difficulty? And I was like, yes, I can. Yes, I can. All right, so based on the log, what increases the complexity of the attack? We see this log. Lateral movement detected. We see source and target IP address. We see a technique of pass the hash. We see a risk score of 8.7. And, of course, a recommendation to quarantine the source IP and reset the credentials. But that's not what it's asking. It's asking what increases the complexity of this attack. All right, let's start with A. The attacker is leveraging credential reuse across the system. Are they? Are they? Is there anything in there? Yes, pass the hash is the technique for leveraging credential reuse. Sort of, right? Because we got that pass the hash in there. Is it B? Attack relies on unpatched vulnerabilities in the target. We don't see anything with a recommendation to patch. And that's kind of our key, that it's not a patching issue. We do see lateral movement attack, but we see nothing about outdated software. None of that is on there. And so B, not a good answer. C, the attacker is using brute force method to crack passwords. Well, we know it's using a pass the hash, not brute force. So we can get rid of that one. And then D, the attack involves a 0-day exploit affecting multiple hosts. Here's the thing. We've already identified the target. And so even though it was worded harshly, there really is only one good answer, and A is the only answer that makes sense on this one. If you got it wrong, don't read more into what the question's asking. That's what this was designed for. A is going to be our correct answer on this one. We started off a little bit light. All right, let's over to question number 3. During a penetration test, a tester observes the following. Network traffic includes unencrypted SMTP version 1 requests. A public FTP server reveals the internal directory structure. HTTP responses include verbose error messages with application paths. Oh, man, really bad things. Which method best describes how the tester is collecting information? How is the tester collecting this information? And so they're not even asking about how to shore up the problem. They're asking how we're picking up the problems. And so that, of course, is the million-dollar question. Let's get right into it. If you need more time, you, of course, can pause it. Active Directory using brute force scanning tools. Brute force scanning tools. If we read through this, we can see that the penetrator observes the following. And so that's kind of our hint there. And so I'm going to say A is probably not correct. Probably not correct. B, passive discovery by analyzing exposed network and system data. We can see that the tester is observing that. Are they able to observe all of that through just passive means? That's the real question. Can you observe all of this on passive means? Maybe. I'm going to say B is a good answer. C, reconnaissance through social engineering techniques. I think we could identify that that's not the case. Not the case. And then exploitation by leveraging known application vulnerabilities. Is that the right answer? I'm really going to come between B and D. B and D. How are they, or I should say, which method best describes how the tester is collecting this information? What do you think between B and D? Again, if you said B, passive discovery by analyzing exposed network and system, yeah, everything is on the network. It says network traffic. Public FTP. FTP is network traffic. HTTP is network traffic. All of those you can pick up via Wireshark. You can analyze what's going on. You can see what's going on. And so B, passive. 100% passive on this one. I think we can agree with that. B is going to be a correct answer. Not too difficult. No. All right, let's get on to the next one. Question number 4. What is the root cause of the unauthorized file access incident? Look at what we got here. We have unauthorized file access from source IP address. We can see a file. We can see the event, user guest access restricted file. Then we see additional information, system log timestamp, and then permission escalated via sudo. All right. Let's not spend too much time on this one. Let's jump right into it. You can always pause that video. The system lacked proper file encryption controls. Is there anything on here for encryption? I would say as we're reading through this, we don't see anything with encryption. So possibly. I mean, if you look at it, secure financial records.csv, not encrypted, obviously. They were able to pull it. Yeah, maybe. B, the guest account had inappropriate access permissions. Oh, I think we could see that, right? The guest accessed restricted file. We can see it right there. Why was the guest able to access that? That's our problem. Is it better than A? I would say yes. I would say that B is better than A, because if we see encryption, that doesn't matter. If you have a guest account and it's able to access it, then it's going to be unencrypted. I mean, could we encrypt the file itself? Yes, we could, but how often do we really do that? And so I would say that B is probably the better answer than A. C, the attacker exploited misconfigured sudo policy. We do see a sudo right there. Did they exploit it? I'm going to say C is another good answer. And then D, file monitoring alerts were configured correctly. Were not configured correctly. Well, we see the event that it was grabbed. We see that it was processed. That is monitoring. It did alert us. And so I'm going to say that D is incorrect. So it's got to become between B and C. Guest count had inappropriate access permissions, or C, the attacker exploited a misconfigured sudo policy within there. And in which one? Which one is the better answer? Let's answer this one. If you said C, the attacker exploited a misconfigured sudo policy, you would be correct. 100%, because look at that. It says permission escalated via sudo. Why was the guest able to do that? Why was the guest able to access it? It wasn't that the guest had access to it, which was what B said. It's that they used sudo, and sudo let them do it. And that's the problem. And so C is going to be our correct answer for this one. I hope that made sense. All right, question 5, last question for the night. An organization risk assessment tool generates the following risk score from newly discovered vulnerability. We see a likelihood of exploitation, 7 out of 10. Impact, 9 out of 10. exploitability score on the CVSS is 8.2 with a mitigation cost of $50,000. The vulnerability exists in a legacy application hosting critical customer data. Which factor should weigh most heavily when prioritizing a remediation of this vulnerability? Which factor should weigh most heavily? And so it's not even asking us anything. It's just saying, of these 4 items, likelihood, impact, exploitability score, and mitigation cost, which one should we prioritize when remediating this vulnerability? Which is a difficult question. Difficult question. Which one is going to be the highest? Let's jump right into it. Mitigation cost compared to overall budget constraints. Yes, this is typically, in the real world, something that we would have to look at. It 100% is. But if you know CompTIA, you know that you have unlimited funds, unlimited resources, and unlimited labor. And so the mitigation cost in a CompTIA exam has nothing to do with it, unless otherwise stated in the question. And so in this case, A is not going to be correct. Everywhere else, it's probably correct. In CompTIA exams where we're in the land of unicorns and dandelions, not correct. And so A, not going to be correct answer. B, likelihood of exploitation based on threat intelligence. Where was that likelihood of exploitation? 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 is a high likelihood. High likelihood. I would say possible. Definitely possible. C, impact of critical data if the vulnerability is exploited. We see a 9 out of 10 on impact. Can hurt our system very, very heavily if it impacts us. Another great answer. And then D, the CVSS score provided by the risk assessment tool. Here's the problem with risk assessment scores, right? Unless they're detailed for your organization, they're just overall. They're like a generic term. And so even though CVSS could be like 8.2, for our organization, it could actually be quite a bit lower. It really could. It just depends, right, on a lot of different factors. But the CVSS score, in this case, is basically taken off the website, and it's not to our organization. It doesn't say that. And I feel like B and C are better answers because of that. So it's going to become between B and C. B and C are our 2 answers on the board, 2 top answers. What do you think? Give me about 5 more seconds on this one. What do you think on this one? Jeopardy music, if you please. If you said C, impact of critical data if the vulnerability is exploited, you would be 100% unequivocally correct. It is 100% the impact. That is going to play the highest score. Because if it doesn't impact me, right, I don't care. I don't care if it doesn't impact me. If you have a high likelihood, we could have a 10 out of 10, but our impact is like 0.1, do we care? No. No. The answer is no. And so impact. Impact is going to be the correct answer on this one. As always, I'm Dr. K. I hope you learned something. Until next time, we'll see you around. Have a good one.